Welcome to Tell the Damn Story, the show that explores the many ways to navigate the successes and failures that aspiring and struggling writers face to make your journey that much easier.
Hey there, everybody. Alex Simmons here. I'm in Williamsport, PA. I was on the road this weekend at the Auto Bookstore Kids Festival. It was a wonderful street festival. A lot of authors and so forth were there. And so Chris was back in New Jersey, New York area doing his thing on the road, and I was doing my thing on the road. So one of the interviews that I did here, I did three, but one of them in particular, the sound quality wasn't wonderful. And the second one I did, the sound quality was a little better. So you're going to get a short interview from here, and then I'm going to add in Chris's interview with Glorious on another topic. And that way, this episode is going to be like a compilation of the boys on their road trips from two different points in America. So here you go. Please, again, forgive the sound quality this time, but definitely this interview is worth listening to. Take care.
And we are recording. Hello there. Okay, hey, we're back. It's Tell the Damn Story, and we are still here at the Auto Bookstore Festival in Williamsport, PA, and the energetic, bubbly, effervescent writer who's also here with me there, but we're doing it this, let me do that again. There we go. We're doing it this way because that way you get a nice shot of her face and everything. So would you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm a local author here to Pennsylvania. My name is E.P. Clark. I'm a children's author focusing on animals. I have one with me right now. The sequel to this is coming out here in September. I'm very excited for that.
What, is that Ruby Red Paw?
Yes, this is
That's fun.
And The Search for Long Whisker's Treasure, and it happens to be about a fearless feline pirate who happens to discover that friendship is more important than treasure.
A fearless feline pirate?
Yes.
Try saying that 6 times fast. Okay. And how did you come up with this character?
It's a funny story about Ruby, actually. A friend of mine went on vacation to Aruba and told me, there's this cat, she's at our hotel, she shows me a picture, he goes, you write a cat lives by the ocean. I said, sounds good. You're the pirate now. And my friend said, that's not what I meant. I said, that's what I meant.
Gotcha. So it was based on someone coming up with an experience they had, throwing the idea at you, and then you running with it.
It took me 2 weeks, and I'm like, I have a book now. Would you like to read it? And she fell in love too, so I was very excited with that.
Now, I see the cover is illustrated. Is there art inside the book?
Yes, there are pictures throughout. She's based in Scotland.
Scotland,
yes.
Scotland.
Very exciting.
I was in Scotland last year.
My publisher actually arranged everything, and this is my first book through a publisher. Very excited about that.
I'm going to try and show. There we go.
He's my favorite little goat, sweethearted, just lovely little guy.
It's fun, little simple, like nice gray tone wash. It's really nicely done.
I love them.
Now, did she do the interior illustrations in black and white?
Yes.
Oh, and it's nice mugshot of you.
Oh, yes.
With this hat that's not quite pirate-ish.
My cowboy hat.
But it makes me think of what, One Piece?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that vibe going on there. That's really great. Now, a lot of what Tell the Damn Story appeals to in terms of our audience is struggling or emerging or inspiring writers. And we always like to sort of explore, how does a writer, and in your case, you, how did you get started? Did you wake up one morning and decide to do that? Have you always wanted to be since you were young? I mean, you are young still, but I mean, younger. When did it start for you?
So we have a joke that I started, and I wrote my first story when I was 5. I had this little notebook, and I drew a picture of a cat and an owl. And I said, Mom, help me. I want to write a story. So we wrote, Cat and Owl were friends. And that was pretty much it. That was the whole story. But I'm very proud of it.
Microfiction.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I still have that notebook, and I consider that the first story. It wasn't until college where I'm like, I really want to do this. So I wrote my first book, Orange Dog Named Riddle, in my junior year, and I put it out 1 week before senior year started.
Now, did you find a genre or an age group that you're attracted to? Or again, are you just exploring?
I love writing kidlit. Kidlit makes me happy.
Kidlit.
Yes.
I like that phrase. What age range does that mean to you?
So that, for me, has been ages 5 through 12.
Good. Because this is 8 to 12 is up, so 5 to 12, you got to really go down
Yeah.
there. Okay.
I have middle grade, and then there's early readers as well.
Yeah. Okay. How long have you been writing in terms of actually producing books like this?
Yeah.
Or short stories or whatever?
So my first book came out in 2022, August 23rd of 2022.
You're a summer girl here. I see this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that about?
That's an orange dog named Blue, and it's about a little boy who finds a puppy on his farm, and together they solve a crime.
Yeah. Oh, so speaking as a Sherlock Holmes fan, the crime thing immediately appeals right to me. Now, do you have a methodology that you use when you write, or do you wing it, or how do you structure your process?
I'm a plotter. I've tried pantsing. It doesn't really work for me. So I write it out, get all of my keywords, my fun little things that I know I want to include, and then break it down from there. I try. It doesn't be stuck to it perfectly, but I do try my best.
Okay, that's great. Now, when you say plotter and pantser, and I know
Oh,
exactly
yes.
what you're referring to, what is your plotting process?
So I try to write basically like a log line of here's what the book is going to be about. And then I like to write the ending first because I know where I'm going. So I just write down here's where we're ending, and then I can work backwards. How do we get here? How do we get here? How do we get here? Here we here. Okay, here's where we started. Or if it's a sequel, I know where the last one left off. So I know I start for Ruby. I'm starting at the ocean right after we left the dock, and I know I have to leave before sailing back home. So what happens in between?
There you go. Do you find yourself attracted to any particular type of characters or storylines or themes?
I love a hero that learns things. So like they have really good characters, just learning growth, good morals. What lessons can be found here?
Okay. Again, writing for a younger audience, it's good to think about that. I'm glad that you do think in terms of morals or lessons to be learned, because again, children they're sponges to a certain degree.
Yes.
So whatever they're taking in, one would like to think this is how I think they're going to process, or this is what I would like them to get out of it, so that we have some sort of directive in mind. I have a problem with people who expose children to, shall we say, material that requires a bit more mature thinking in order to process what they're seeing. Because
Yeah.
otherwise you don't know what's going on in their heads. So I'm glad you did that. Now, as I mentioned earlier, in case folks you can't see this, because if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it. But if you're listening, that you are a young person, so especially compared to me. But if Chris were here, he would refer to my ancient experiences, like building the ark with Noah and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm curious, do you have a goal that you're going for in terms of your career? Because I think you've been to college, but now you're out into the world. What are you aiming for? What would you like to accomplish?
I think everyone would love to sell that one big bestseller. I think that would be amazing. But really, for me, success is when I have a kid come up to me and go, I loved your book. This was amazing. I love being spotted on the street or in a dollar store or wherever. And I'm like, I don't know who you are, but you're happy about my work. So I'm happy to hear it. So like more of that, I think.
That's another thought just came to me. Are you from this area?
Yes.
Okay.
About 15 minutes away from here.
Oh, even better. Okay. Do you find that the area that you're in is in any way inspiring or influencing your writing?
So the first two books actually take place basically in my hometown, just about 100 years before.
Ah.
It's not documented in it, but it's heavily inspired.
And do you do research when you do that sort of thing?
I love looking at the photograph archives of old farms, old towns. That really helps me.
And get a sense of that world so that you can then recreate it. Okay. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? So the nice thing about being an author is that a lot of your friends end up being authors. So I have a friend down in Mississippi. She pushes me. J.K. Wyant, she pushes me. They inspire me.
And do you see yourself working on something a bit more massive in size? But again, you're writing for a younger audience. But I'm not locking you into that. I'm asking in terms of exploratory, what do you have in mind?
I have a few. I typically do children's work. I have one that's an adult geared one and one that's upper middle grade. It's going to be heavier. They're daunting, scary, but I do want to focus on one. I was talking to a friend of mine today that I have a really good idea for a larger either young adult or middle grade. He said, I really want to bite into her soon. I think I'll be able to.
I think you have the right idea in terms of process because there's more to the story, but you start with plotting. You start with looking at maybe how it begins, or maybe you come up first with the ending and you're going to work towards that, but you lay out a map, if you will.
Yes.
And I'm going to make an assumption here. You give yourself permission to steer off of the map every now and then.
And what I have learned is the characters tell you things you don't even know. So if they tell you to do something, you just go, yes, ma'am. We are indeed going into the woods, even though we were supposed to go to town. Let's do it.
And why do you feel that?
Sometimes some of my best works are just that I'm just going to sit and just type and see what happens. And it's the funniest, most wholesome, and maybe most touching inside. I couldn't have planned that if I tried. It was a raw and natural feeling for whatever I was feeling that day or experienced or whatever.
So sometimes you tie into your emotional connection with the story, but also what you said earlier ties into some of the things that Chris and I mentioned, which is the more you listen to or you get to know your character and listen to that character, the more authentic the story becomes. So we tend to, suggest strongly that people spend some time listening to their character, talking to their character. Not like we're not. Okay, we understand this. But it is a thing. So like having a best friend. You know how your best friend responds to things. It makes it easier to navigate the story. So I like the fact that you say sometimes the character goes, no, we're doing this. You don't fight it. You're not writing the plot as much as you are serving the story.
And you can always turn back. Side quests are great. That's one thing my publisher tells me is like, all right, we're a little quick here. Let's throw in a side quest. And sometimes the character needs a side quest. There's nothing wrong with that.
Now, do you find, again, I haven't read any of your work yet, but I'm thinking you got pirates in there. So there must be some sort of action scenarios at times.
There's some sword fights. There's some chase scenes.
Okay. How do you get when you're working on that? What do you do?
Music. Music is a big one.
Do you play music that gets you into the spirit of it?
So, Pirates of the Caribbean, you need a good chase scene, just turn that on, you're good. You got it.
We get Johnny Depp.
You can hear it, you can see it, and this is what I need. Yes.
Got you. Is there anything else that you want to share about your process or any kind of tips or anything that you want to offer folks out there who are coming up right behind you and they could use a little bit of guidance?
The advice I was given in college is no matter what you do, someone's not going to like your work. So don't let that stop you and just write.
Excellent.
At the end of the day, there's no such thing as a bad book. Someone's not going to list out their thing. There's genres I don't read, but that doesn't make it a bad book.
That's absolutely true.
So
let's plug it again because I like it. And I'm going to.
This is my newest Ruby Red Paw, The Search for Long Whiskers Treasure. Here, September 23rd on Retail's website, Retail Publishing. Will be Ruby Red Paw and the Voyage to Otter's Orchard.
Ooh.
Very excited for that one. There are otters, there's a stowaway, there's a magical beast, and a glowing emerald.
Wait a minute. And when is that coming out?
That is September 23rd. It's on pre-order now.
The good fall piece.
Yes. I am excited. It's going to be a very close one, I think.
All right. Then thank you again so much.
And
when I'm back in New York and we're settling and everything, I'm going to try and get you back on the show. Maybe around that time.
I would love it.
Okay, great. Then once again, thanks very much, everybody. We're here at let me get it right again, the Auto Bookstore Fest, and it's been great. And we're here in Williamsport, PA, and coming at you later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Chris Ryan. How you doing? I'm on the road. We're going to do a little bit of conversation about why we're on the road. And some thoughts that a special guest star is going to share with us because, well, one, she's a wonderful person. And two, she's very generous. And three, for some reason, she has a hard time saying no to me. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today on Tell the Damn Story, we have special mystery guests. The always unseen Glorious, my wife. Hi, Glorious.
Hi.
There she is, ladies and gentlemen. You're never going to see it because that's the deal I made. So Glorious,
Yes.
you know, they tell the damn stories about writing, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And you may not write a lot, but you do, my God, do you love to read.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe we might switch it up today. You know, usually it's the two knucklehead guys, Chris Ryan and Alex Simmons, just talking guy views. And I think it's about time we get some female perspective in on this. Are you willing to help us out with that,
Yeah.
love of my life?
Yes, I am.
All right. So we're going to start with a question that might be big. Well, I have no idea where it's going to go. But we're getting a female perspective today on Tell the Damn Story. So when you're reading books, I know you read a lot of female authors,
Yeah. I'm
right?
trying to remember the last time, I'm sorry to say this, that I've read a male author.
Okay, that's a great place to start. Why do you, as a woman, this is a really obvious question, folks. Why do you, as a woman, prefer female authors over male authors? Just your personal opinion.
Because I can relate to the characters more. You know, we've probably gone through similar experiences. I think female authors understand more what women go through. And it's finding that lately I've been finding books about female characters that are older. Like, I don't want to read anymore about 20-year-olds. Not a 20-year-old.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Sometimes
She's
it's like-
23.
So I've been more drawn to characters that are older, you know,
Okay.
closer to being age or even older.
So you've inspired in me a few follow-up questions. I want to get to the older
Yes.
characters and narrators in a minute. But first, you were talking about being drawn more to female authors. And yes, it is obvious,
Yeah.
right? But what would you say male authors might miss about the female experience or writing a female character that female authors get?
I think how difficult it is to be female in this world at times.
Like
Just-
every second of every day?
Yes. Just from,
True.
you know, what's expected of you, what's not expected of you, and all the things that they have to juggle in their lives. You know, so I think sometimes maybe male authors, I don't know, because I remember, again, I don't read a lot of male authors, don't understand that stuff.
All right, so we're not talking, you know, the cliche is, oh, well, they're talking about menstrual cycle or pregnancy. You know, that's not what you're doing. You're talking about day to day,
Yes.
getting up, going to the office,
Right.
or, you know, just dealing with your husband. Now, I understand that you're an exception because what a jewel you have.
Absolutely.
But let's talk a little bit. What can you find an example, perhaps, of what you think? Oh, yes, I get that experience from a female author perspective. Is it the way an argument goes on, or the way even a dinner scene happens?
I think it's things like the struggle of working full time, taking care of a family, you know, and taking care of the house, taking care of older parents, you know, and how that is a lot. And sometimes there is no downtime. And it gets overwhelming at times,
Sure.
you know, so
And how do books by female authors help that? Because a lot of times people read because it's a release, or it underscores the experience you're having, or perhaps even gives you insight into how you might be able to handle something. Do you see any of that with the authors that you like to read?
yeah, I mean, I think the big part is that it makes me feel like I'm not alone, that a lot of women feel maybe what I'm feeling or get overwhelmed at times. So it's more, not so much, how to handle things, but kind of just that feeling of you're not alone, you'll get through this, things like that.
I gotta tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most heartbreaking episode of Tell the Damn Story I've ever recorded, because I feel guilty about every answer I'm hearing. My God, what did I do? Oh, Jesus, I have to. I did a dish. What are we talking about? I did a dish. I helped.
Yeah, like that Nate Bargatze line.
That's right.
And that's
Nate
on laundry.
Bargatze. I do my laundry.
That's his-
That started a second conversation I didn't even see it coming. I think that's what he says. Let's talk about some of your favorite authors. I'm gonna throw the first one because I know this name, and then that'll give you some time to think of others, if that will help.
Yeah.
I know you love Maeve, and she God
Yes.
rest her soul.
Yes.
Talk to us about what made Maeve so special for you. I just want to get a lot of M's in on that sentence.
I think it's because she writes about friends and family relationships and the difficulties in dealing with that in life. But she's also could be funny. Sorry. And it's not, it's not about being, the most beautiful, and you have to get the prince, to come save you.
Of course.
It's a lot of strong women,
In this case, you saved the prince, but that's a whole different story.
So I think that's why I like
Okay.
her.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that, you were seeking out books with female authors that deal with older characters.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. I said that we're going to we're going to ask the goddess, hope she be glorious, favorite author. So we talked about Maeve. Is there anyone else before we move on?
Yeah, there's Adriana Trigiani.
What do you like about Adriana?
Well, she's Italian-American, so a lot of her
she's a
books,
paisan.
yeah, are based either in Italy or on Italian-American characters, and so I can relate a lot to that.
Okay. All right.
And again, she has a lot of strong female characters. It's not, like to come save her or take care of her.
Now, that's the second or third time you've mentioned man has to save it. Is that like a big theme?
Well, it is a big thing in like romance books and stuff like that, and I think that's why I don't really read romance books, which is fine, but it's just not what I'm interested in.
Yeah. There's an actress. What is her name? I think she's the other one on the Good Morning Show, not the girl from Friends, the other one. The morning show.
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
Right.
She was on some clip I saw this week where she was talking about how at some point in every movie, the woman turns to the man and says, "What are we going to do?" And she's like, she had like 20 real quick clips of that exact line, you know? And she's like, what woman do you know who would ever turn to a man and say that? Because the women tend to be the more organized. They're the ones who go and get stuff done.
Right.
Is that one of the things that you're like, man book?
Yeah. I like it when the female character takes responsibility for her own actions, her own life, and doesn't wait for her partner to help, to solve the problems and things like that. Or, I like when they're portrayed as being strong and not this weak person can't handle or deal with situations that arise in life.
Okay.
No matter how hard they are.
Excellent.
I'm not saying this, but, I don't want to give the impression of not asking for help or not having friends or people to lean on, like just not depending on
Sure.
another person.
Not turning to the man and say,
What are we going to do? Right.
"Guys,
You know, you could turn to the man and say, hey, you know,
get up.
let's talk about this.
Turn the game off, damn it. The house is on fire." All right, so tell the damn story, people. We're going to stop the video here and then start a new one because I'm not sure how long a clip could be when I'm sending it to Alex Simmons to do his magic. So we'll be right back.
Hey folks, that's actually going to be the end of this particular episode of Tell the Damn Story. We'll continue this either later in the week or pick it up again next Sunday. Either way, have a great creative week and talk to you soon.